Major funding for KPBS Evening Edition has been made possible in part by Bill Howe Family of Companies, providing San Diego with plumbing, heating, air, restoration, and flood services for over 40 years. Call 1-800-BILL-HOWE or visit BillHowe.com. And by the Conrad Trebas Foundation, Darlene Marcos Shiley, and by the following. And by viewers like you. Thank you.
Thank you for joining us. I'm Maya Trabulsi. Nearly a week after a New York Times report on sexual assault allegations against the late Cesar Chavez, San Diego Unified School Board is considering the process of renaming a school that bears his name. KPBS reporter Jacob Ayer joins us live from Morse High School, where the board meeting is taking place. Jacob?
Hi, Maya. Tonight, the district's Board of Education will consider beginning the process to formally change the name of Cesar Chavez Elementary School in South Crest. The school's logo is the United Farm Workers Union flag. Board regulations typically limit the district to one school name or mascot change per year, and just last month, the board changed Claremont High School's mascot from the Chieftains to Captains, but the district says this is a significant moment and needs to respond to community concerns. Earlier today, we spoke with Board Vice President Sabrina Bozzo, who talked about what could come next.
We are towards the end of the school year. We'll be done in May, and so we will start the process now, go through the summer, and I would imagine, have something decided for the fall semester.
Bozzo says physical changes would take place after that decision is made. She also says the district is already working on covering up any Chavez signage on its buildings. The district says tonight's action is the first step in a community-driven process. That process includes establishing a naming committee, as well as having at least 2 different community meetings for the public to comment on the matter. Maya?
Jacob, thank you. Now, San Diego Unified isn't the only local institution considering removing Chavez's name from buildings and memorials. What others can you tell us about?
That's right. Already we've seen different educational institutions like Cal State San Marcos, as well as Southwestern College remove statues and his name on different buildings. And now the city of San Diego also says that they're going to be removing Chavez's name from different public assets. Reporting live from Morse High School, Jacob Ayer, KPBS News.
Well, the heat wave continues across the Southwest. Overnight relief, something that we're probably enjoying in most neighborhoods, down to 46 late tonight in Ramona, 48 in Escondido. There will be some patchy coastal clouds, but otherwise a clear sky for the interior. The heat's going to be actually expanding into more of the plains this Wednesday, but we're still absolutely in on it. Areas just a little bit inland will be still flirting with record highs or breaking daily record highs. We'll have your full forecast, finding relief at the end in a bit.
A deal to fund the Department of Homeland Security, which includes TSA agents, might be getting closer to reality. The potential deal comes as DHS now has a new leader and as airline passengers across the country face worsening security lines at airports. Michael Yoshida reports.
Frustrations for flyers.
We've been here at least an hour and 15 minutes in line. Got up at like some ungodly hour to get an 8:15 flight.
Across the country, travelers still seeing hours-long security lines at some major U.S. airports.
You think it's not going to be that bad, but then you get here and, you think, oh, man, it really is as bad as they say it is.
Call-outs from Transportation Security Administration officers continue as they haven't been paid since mid-February. Monday, Immigration and Customs Enforcement agents were sent to 14 airports, including some of those hardest hit by TSA staffing shortages. The White House border czar said ICE agents are assisting with simpler tasks.
I don't believe that they're trained in a way that they can help us. Since I've been here, I've seen them outside standing around. I don't know if they are doing anything. I don't know.
Monday, Republican lawmakers emerged from the White House with a plan to mostly fund the DHS and begin paying TS agents again. According to a source familiar with the talks, a portion of immigration enforcement funding and pieces of President Trump's voter ID bill known as the Save America Act, which the president has said is needed for any deal, would be left out and require separate legislation. A plan key Democrats seem open to, but want to see in writing.
The cleanest thing to do is to just fund TSA. let's do it today.
As negotiations continue, Tuesday, former Senator Markwayne Mullin was sworn in as the new head of DHS, replacing the embattled former Secretary Kristi Noem. In Washington, Michael Yoshida, KPBS News.
San Diego's East County has become the epicenter for large clean energy projects in the region, and that includes solar, wind, and lithium battery storage. But KPBS East County reporter Elaine Alfaro says residents have concerns about the impact on the environment and cultural sites.
Like much of East County, the community of Boulevard is home to rugged landscapes, rich cultural history, and diverse wildlife. The uninterrupted nature is part of why Yvonne and Abraham Mena moved to Boulevard in their retirement. Here's Yvonne Mena.
This is what really sold us to this property. We walked up and came through here, and I'll show you. Come on, and you'll see it's beautiful.
But Abraham Mena worries the natural space near their property could soon be erased by a proposed solar project.
It's going to affect really the life of the humans that live here and the animals and everything else that you can see that is alive. The bushes, the whole thing, the ecosystem is totally going to change.
The project is called Starlight Solar and could span nearly 600 acres. It would be just the latest in a long list of renewable energy projects that have transformed East County in the last 2 decades. These projects are helping state and local governments build toward their zero carbon emission goals in the coming years. These targets aim to reduce the harmful impacts of climate change caused by greenhouse gas emissions. But those efforts are running up against complex realities on the ground and pushback from residents and tribal leaders. John Bathke is an assistant professor of Native American Studies at San Diego City College. He characterized the trend in East County as green colonialism.
Again, this kind of second wave colonization, green colonization, in the name of renewable energy and being friendly to the environment, comes at the expense of, destroying in part the environment and destroying native cultural resources.
San Diego's region is home to 19 Native American tribes and 18 reservations, including the Manzanita Band of the Kumeyaay Nation. Manzanita chairwoman Angela Elliott Santos says there's a complicated history of colonialism in San Diego. Over a century ago, East County became a safe haven for her tribe.
Well, this has been our land for thousands of years. One of the things we used it for a couple hundred years ago was as a familiar place to go to, instead of being missionized, instead of being told what to do and taken over completely.
Elliott Santos supports the idea of clean renewable energy, but she worries about how the East County landscape around the reservation has changed.
It is very sad when you see that there are places where these projects could have gone through with much less impact.
But the land use consultant working on Starlight Solar argues this project is different from past East County projects.
It's because we work with the community. So that doesn't happen with some projects.
That's Jim Whalen. He emphasized that the property owner advancing the project has owned the land in Boulevard for decades. Whalen says the proposal will preserve over 400 acres of the natural land and all of the identified indigenous cultural sites in the project. But community members are wary, in part because of a separate, similarly sized solar project under construction in nearby Jacumba that also faced public scrutiny. Sita Stark works in Jacumba and lives in Boulevard. She remembers the day the project broke ground.
It felt like getting run over from the very beginning, and it just feels like there's no, I haven't consented to this.
The Jacumba community secured a $4 million benefit fund from the developer. Last fall, the Boulevard Community Planning Group approved the proposed Starlight Solar project with some strings attached. The group is asking for a $7 million community benefit fund along with other commitments. Whalen said the Boulevard property owners have invested in community projects in years past. For Starlight, he says they will pay to refurbish the local resource center and are open to increased setbacks for the project. But they haven't agreed to a benefit fund.
We've already done a lot of the things that they asked for.
Still, some community members want to see stronger protections against environmental impacts, such as water contamination and fire hazards. In an email, a county spokesperson said, quote, "A utility-scale energy project's impacts undergo a lengthy public planning and environmental review process before any decision is made. The county's role is to evaluate whether a project is appropriate for a particular site and whether its impacts can be avoided, reduced, or mitigated to an acceptable level under state law," end quote. The spokesperson said it's possible the project may go to the county's planning commission in early May. Elaine Alfaro, KPBS News.
I'm Jeff Bennett. Tonight on the NewsHour, the growing cost of the war on civilians in Israel, Iran, and across the region. That's at 7 after Evening Edition on KPBS.
President Trump repeatedly promised that tax refunds would be larger this year for Americans thanks to the big, beautiful bill. The latest data from the IRS shows refunds on average are higher than in 2025. But now, as Ivan Rodriguez reports, the war with Iran could wipe out a significant slice of that refund for many people.
As of March 13th, the average refund amount for individual filers was $3,623, up from $3,271 about a year ago, according to the IRS. That's a nearly 11% increase.
If you are falling into a specific category like a senior, who is getting an additional tax benefit or tax deduction, you may be seeing larger refunds because, again, that's a nice boost. The no tax on tips, no tax on overtime.
While many Americans are looking forward to the extra money, the war with Iran is making gasoline more expensive. Gas prices have soared to nearly $4 nationwide, according to AAA, up almost $1 from February 28th when the U.S.-Israeli conflict with Iran began. Those gas price hikes are fueled by the effective closing of the Strait of Hormuz that cut off 20% of the world's oil supply and sent oil prices skyrocketing.
It's going to be a tricky situation for a lot of people, especially anybody who might have, mentally started to plan for where this money's going to go. There will be other downstream impacts of higher prices for diesel, shipping costs, airplane tickets. Those are all going up.
Patrick DeHaan, head of petroleum analysis at online price tracker Gas Buddy, says he expects high gas prices to continue into the summer, even if the war ends.
It's going to be a snail's pace for as long as this continues to stretch out, because it will take much more time for markets to globally mend and for them to resupply themselves. So the sticker shock may continue, though there could be relief if it does improve.
I'm Ivan Rodriguez reporting.
The war in Iran continues to have a ripple effect on San Diego businesses. Inferno Wood-Fired Pizza Kitchen says it's shelling out more dough before they even serve the first slice. And that's because rising fuel prices are driving up the cost of ingredients and transporting them.
$200 now. It was $130. Now it's about $200. It's just, it's an unexpected expense, and we don't raise our prices. We haven't for a long time, so I know it's going to trickle down into everything else we buy.
And that's the owner, Scott Condon, who says that he's explored some extreme options like buying fuel in bulk out of state just to save money. He adds they're looking at all options to ensure prices for customers stay consistent. RV owners and towing businesses in Southern California are also feeling the effects of rising gas prices. Jeff Wynn has more on the challenges they're facing.
It's been complete chaos.
Efren Vega de Verona owns an online RV rental business that he says has been struggling over the past year. You have 19 RVs to rent out. How many are currently sitting in the yard?
We have 16.
He says following the immigration operations and the Trump administration's trade war, rental to people coming from out of the country dropped about 90%. Then came the war with Iran and rising gas prices.
We're seeing a big decline in our local customer base because of gas prices.
At this gas station in Sun Valley, the owner of the studio equipment truck paid $200 for diesel fuel, just shy of 28 gallons. Diesel also powers the tow trucks at Keystone Towing in Van Nuys. This business runs 24/7. General Manager Omar Quintanilla says the price of diesel has gone up about 60% over the past month.
Going from paying, $25,000 a month to over $30,000, that's a dramatic increase for us.
And he says his drivers don't have the luxury of being able to shop around.
We can't charge our customers for the fuel, so that's something that we have to take in consideration.
While Efren Vega de Verona says the uncertainty of fuel prices may mean the end of the road for his business.
After 9 years of having a 5-star reviewed motorhome rental business, it might be time to call it a day.
The Navy says it's investigating allegations San Diego Navy Reserve Officer Amar Campanajjar violated Pentagon rules in his campaign for Congress. KPBS military reporter Andrew Dyer says Campanajjar's website changed Monday after KPBS started asking questions.
Until Monday, Democrat Amar Campanajjar's campaign website described him as a, quote, U.S. Navy officer. His reserve status was only noted in a small blurb toward the bottom of the page. Emails obtained by KPBS show his official candidate statement also described him as a Navy officer. The San Diego Registrar of Voters requested it be updated to say Navy Reserve Officer after a rival campaign complained. Pentagon rules say reservists running for office must clearly state they're in the reserves in campaign materials. Mark Ball spent 10 years in the Navy as an officer, 2 of those in the reserves.
There's a reason why I say I did almost 10 years and the last 2 was as a reservist, because I want to make it very clear that there is that line of distinction between the active duty and the reserve side.
He's studying civilian-military relations as part of a master's program at the University of San Francisco. He says he came across Campanajjar's campaign while researching veteran candidates for office.
His page, his campaign, everything kind of makes it sound like he's active duty Navy or was active duty Navy, when the reality is as far from it as possible.
He says what he sees on Campanajjar's website is an example of what not to do.
And the biggest takeaway from that is just don't misrepresent your service. Call it as it is. If you're a reservist, let it be known. The general public's not going to know the difference, but the veterans or military community will know the difference.
In a statement, Campanajjar's campaign said, quote, Amar has been compliant with DoD directives on permissible political activity. They say the Navy hasn't requested changes. Brian Van Riper is a veteran and Democratic campaign consultant in Los Angeles. He's worked on several campaigns, including Presidents Barack Obama and Joe Biden.
If you're running for office, I would advise persons to be ultra careful, ultra conservative in how they describe things.
Previous reporting by La Prensa identified photos on the campaign site could also run afoul of Pentagon rules about using uniformed photos as primary images in campaign materials. Additionally, Campanajjar's uniform shows his previous rank, ensign. Navy records show he was promoted to lieutenant junior grade almost a year ago. Campanajjar received a direct commission as a reserve public affairs officer in 2023. Prior to that, he ran for Congress twice and once for mayor of Chula Vista. He's running again for Congress in the newly redrawn 48th District. On Monday, the Campanajjar campaign added language to its website, making his reserve status more prominent after KPBS contacted them for comment. Andrew Dyer, KPBS News.
A worldwide shortage of aircraft mechanics is likely impacting your travel plans, causing delays and cancellations. As Maribel Gonzalez shows us, a new generation of technicians is stepping up to answer the call.
Just as critical as those flying the airplanes are those tasked with maintaining them, because when it comes to safety, every single detail on these aircrafts matters. For these students at the Universal Technical Institute in Long Beach, California,
turbocharged aircraft have to have fire protection. Why?
Or heat.
The aircraft maintenance skills they're learning aren't just fueling their passion.
Anybody can wrench on their car, but everybody can wrench on a plane.
To them, they're saving lives.
It's an important job because, well, as everyone says, you can't pull a plane over in the sky.
These mechanics in the making are in demand. The airline industry needs 17,000 aircraft maintenance technicians right now in North America and will need as many as 30,000 by 2028, according to the consulting firm Oliver Wyman.
Generationally speaking, you'll see a lot more retiring than coming into the industry. So that's why you see such a large gap.
This worker shortage means maintenance maintenance takes longer and planes spend more time on the ground, not just affecting commercial travel.
Everything from cargo to construction, a lot of times it's on a plane at some point in time. So we got to fill those voids.
The 18 to 24 months long program at UTI Long Beach is working to do just that. Students here learn everything from the theoretical.
You start with math and we go through the entire aircraft. Water goes into the fuel line and excess water is drained via the remote overflow line.
To the technical.
As a mechanic, we want them to be able to walk up to the airplane and look, oh, there's corrosion.
And training doesn't end here. Technology keeps evolving.
When you come out here, we set you up for an entry-level path. This is lifelong learning.
An intensive program on the ground to keep people safe in the skies.
It's on us to keep aircraft safe, and we're the last line of defense before an aircraft is allowed to fly.
In Long Beach, California, I'm Maribel Gonzalez.
The heat wave continues across all of Southern California. Now, we're going to be dealing with a slight escalation in temperatures along the coastline, but a long streak of days with near record highs continues a little bit inland. A little hotter by Thursday for the beaches. There will be relief arriving next week. We're going to have to wait for it. It might not be until the beginning of the actual work week, but we're going to enjoy a break from the heat here as the heat wave finally comes to an end by Monday and Tuesday. Tonight, though, 58 degrees, increasing clouds for the metro with that influence of the Pacific giving us a little bit of cloud cover. But the heat dome holds strong, and on Wednesday, it actually expands a little farther east. We're still absolutely in on this here in Southern California, but the plains will step into it as well. Temperatures 15 to 30 degrees above historical averages for inland areas, and still in many areas near the coast, 10 degrees or maybe 5 to 10 degrees above average for the coastline. 72 in San Diego, 75 Oceanside, pretty comfortable there, but 88 in Ramona. There's the hot thermometer. 98 degrees in Borrego Springs. It's early in the season for this, but we've been into this now for a week plus, a week and a half. Thursday, still summer-like out there, very warm, if not hot in most areas. There is a cold front on the map, but it is way too far to the east on the other side of the Rockies, so it will not have a local payoff. So Thursday, again, very broad zone of high pressure south of that southbound front. So areas from the Ohio Valley to Southern California facing near record heat. And the drought gets worse for more areas to our east. Southwest sizzling on Friday. Again, a lot of heat into the desert, still very warm along the coastline, and not a drop of rain within hundreds of miles here all week long. No precipitation locally. The drought's beginning to kind of sneak into some portions of California. Worsening drought in the interior west, the Great Basin. So, coastal forecast there, we're at our warmest on Thursday and again through Saturday. So mid to upper 70s for the coastline, a little warmer Thursday. You'll notice a slight difference. Even Sunday, we're still in the mid-70s. It'll be pretty comfortable there, but inland areas will not find that type of comfort. We're peaking to around a crescendo of 88 on Friday, just inland, and we'll still be in the mid-80s through Sunday. The relief won't come until next week. In the mountains, here we're going to be holding on to the upper 60s, very warm. Some may even make a run to near 71 right before the front arrives. That Pacific air begins to slide in next week, but it's not here yet. Even through Sunday, deserts deep into the upper 90s most days. Even Sunday, very hot, 99. It won't be until Monday and Tuesday when we get that Pacific air to bring us a little bit of relief. We'll look forward to that. I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Jeff Cornish for KPBS News.
Baseball's opening day is just around the corner, and the Padres today unveiled the offerings that are in store for fans. Here's KPBS reporter Alexander Nguyen with a preview of what's new at Petco Park for this season.
The Padres rolled out the red carpet today to show off the Diamond Room. It's a 70s-themed cocktail lounge and speakeasy.
I just felt like I came out of the 70s.
Padres great Trevor Hoffman was there testing out one of the drinks.
That's nice. That's nice. Very smooth.
Padres Senior Vice President of Special Events, Jacqueline Lash, says the lounge acts as an extension to the park for people to hang out before and after the game.
Well, it's approachable, but it's upscale, so great drinks, great food, whether it's you want pizza or Diamond Dog, a really bomb hamburger, so we're really excited.
But that's not all fans can expect. Inside the park, the Padres added 2 new video boards to the first and third base towers. They will display real-time pitchers' statistics. Padres CEO Eric Grupna says it's to enhance fans' experience.
They can look up there and see vertical break,
horizontal movement, speed, and really see another level of data that historically they haven't been able to see within the ballpark itself.
Everything the Padres are doing this season is all about fan service. Look at all these giveaways, but that's not all. Look at all these food options. It's all about locality. They're bringing the neighborhood into the park.
Gelati Piccati's back. We're doing some fun mozzarella sandwiches, a caprese sandwich as well on some fresh baked focaccia bread. We're doing it on a round focaccia versus your traditional square. Carnita Shack is back with their loaded tots. Awesome item.
Grupner says it's all about creating a sense of community for the fans, and that includes the various cultural heritage nights.
We learn when we do different cultural heritage nights how well received they are, and we did Vietnamese Heritage Night previously, and it was incredibly well received, and it's really neat to see the Vietnamese community all the way up into Orange County rally around an opportunity to get together and be honored here at the ballpark.
The Padres season opener is this Thursday. They will face off against the Detroit Tigers. The first pitch is at 1:10. Alexander Nguyen, KPBS News.
Very cool. Time now to take a look at what we're working on for tomorrow in the KPBS newsroom. Republicans hope to have a deal to fund parts of the Department of Homeland Security, but those talks are hitting snags. NPR's Morning Edition will break down the latest developments. And PBS NewsHour co-anchor and co-managing editor Jeff Bennett talks about his new book detailing the history of black comedy. That is tomorrow on KPBS Midday Edition. And you can find tonight's stories on our website, kpbs.org. Thanks for joining us. I'm Maya Trabulsi. Have a great evening.
Major funding for KPBS Evening Edition has been made possible in part by Bill Howe Family of Companies, providing San Diego with plumbing, heating, air, restoration, and flood services for over 40 years. Call 1-800-BILL-HOWE or visit BillHowe.com. And by the Conrad Prebys Foundation, Darlene Marco Shiley, and by the following. And by viewers like you. Thank you.